Hello everyone. In today's class, we'll be studying about MapReduce framework. As you have already seen, there are two components in your Hadoop framework. That is nothing but your HDFS and MapReduce. So HDFS, you know already, it is a file system which is used to store your Hadoop data, and this MapReduce is used for processing of that data. Now we'll see in detail about this MapReduce framework. So MapReduce framework is a software framework for easily writing applications which process vast amount of data. And remember, it is used for processing vast amount of data in parallel on large clusters of commodity of hardware in reliable fault tolerant manner. So we'll see the definition of this in detail when we go through the slides. Okay, so as you can see in this slide, there are 4 stages, you can say, of MapReduce. First stage is split, map, combine, shuffle, reduce. So in brief, we can say there are only 2 stages, that is map and reduce. So if we go in detail, there are 5 stages to process the data. That means it will take the input and give you the required output. Okay, so your MapReduce computation model provides a very powerful tool for many applications and is more common than most user realize. Okay, so MapReduce model is inspired by the map and reduce functions commonly used in many functional programming languages. I think you already seen this in Java programming, where we use map functions and reduce functions. So map function takes key and value pairs, and similarly your reduce functions like your add multiplication functions also takes key and value pairs as an input. So, okay, so that is the idea taken from this other programming languages. So, there are 2 important properties of this MapReduce. One is data flow. Data flow is nothing but data flow is in only one direction, that is from map to reduce. So it is possible to use the output of the reduce step as the input to the another MapReduce process. So we'll see this in detail in the coming slides. So next important property of this MapReduce is functional programming. The input are not changed. By applying the map reduction functions to the input data, new data are produced. In effect, the original state of the Hadoop data lake is always preserved. The state is preserved here from the mapping state to the reduced state. The input data will not be changed once the input data is given to the map function. Okay. Now, this MapReduce is a distributed implementation to process large amount of data to analyze quickly. Okay, so distributed here means it is parallel. So when you give a data to process and it is working in a parallel manner, it means your data will be processing faster. Okay, so next is the mapper process is fully scalable and can be applied to any subset of the input data. The results from multiple parallel mapping functions are then combined into the reduce phase. So what does the mapper process takes is the subset from the other data node. That means as you know, when you give that store the data, the data will be stored in different data nodes. So it takes the input from the different data nodes, the mapper function. And what the reduction function does is it combines all those data nodes data and make it into one output file. Then next is Hadoop accomplishes parallelism by using distributed file system to slice and spread data over multiple servers. So MapReduce parallel data flow. So we'll see this 5 stages in the next diagram. So as you can see in this diagram, there is input, split, map, shuffle, reduce, output. Okay, 5 stages. As you can see, there is one example given there. There is an input file. In that input file, there is something example written, see spot run, run spot run, see the cat. So that is the input file given. So what we have to give, write the program is to find occurrence of the word in that file. How many times one word has been occurred in that file. For example, see, S-E-E has been occurred how many times? Say 2 times. Similarly, run has occurred 3 times. So on. So we have to give the output that C has occurred twice, run has occurred thrice, spot has occurred twice, like and so on. That should be the output of the given what is that diagram there. So how this map reduce will split your data, map the data, shuffle, reduce, we will see in detail now. Okay. The first stage is input split, you can say. For example, if you are giving one 500 MB of file, so what the HDFS will do is, it will break that file into 8 blocks, that is 64 MB each, because you know the already the data will be stored in the block manner, and each block will be of 64 MB. Okay, that 500 MB will be broken into 8 blocks and written into different machines in the cluster. So that will be written into different data nodes there. Okay, now the data are also replicated on multiple machines. Already I have told you earlier in the earlier video class where what is replications there. Each data will be again replicated thrice. That means one data will be stored in the 3 different machines. Now that input splits used by MapReduce are logical boundaries based on the input data. Okay. Next is map step. What this map step will do is, mapping process is where the parallel nature of Hadoop comes into play. That is when the parallel nature in the sense where parallelly execution occurs. Okay. Now how this mapping will be done, you can just listen to this. For large amount of data, many mappers can be operating at the same time. That means you can see here of the input to the map step is from the split stage. See spot run, run spot run, see the cat. That means this 3 line will be executing parallelly, and executing parallelly used from the map stage here. The user provides a specific mapping process. So suppose if you want you write your own application, you can write here and specify your own mapping process. MapReduce will try to execute the mapper on the machines where the block resides. Now what a reduction phase does here is, it will combine. Now what a mapping stages will be doing, it will be executing the application or the program what we write here. So what this mapper does is, it will execute the program written on your own machines, on the machine where the data has been stored. Again, it will not try to replicate or send the data to the reduction or something like that. So it will try to execute on that same machine where that block resides. Suppose just now I told you the 500 MB data will be split into 64 MB. The same 64 MB will be processed in the same machine. If all the nodes holding the data are too busy, MapReduce will try to pick a node that is closest to the node that hosts the data block. So if the data which is needed or a data node which is data is stored is too busy, what will it will try to do is, it will try to find the closest node from the host data block. Okay, so that we call as rack awareness, which we have already seen, which is nearby node will be if the data is stored in the nearby node, we will try to take that data node or that data and process it. Okay. Next is combiner step. It is not listed here, the combiner step is not listed in this diagram. So it will see that diagram in the next slide here. So before that, there is one point given here. It is possible to provide an optimization or pre-reduction as a part of the map stage. Okay, there will be some optimization or pre-reduction before we give it to shuffle step or shuffle stage. There will be some optimization, or we call as pre-reduction, as part of the map stage. So this combiner is also a part of the map stage, where your key value pairs are combined prior to the next stage. So key value is nothing but here C, 1, spot, 1, run, 1 is nothing but your key. Your key is nothing but the text C, SEE, and the value is nothing but 1 written there. Okay. Next is a shuffle step. So before the parallel reduction stage can complete, all similar keys must be combined and counted by the same reducer process. So what it will do is, it will combine all the similar keys and count the same, and it is counted by the same reducer process. The shuffle will come under this reduce stage. Shuffle will be done by this reduce stage. Okay. So what is shuffle will be doing is, it will combine the similar keys. You can see here C is combined, SEE, C is combined, spot is combined, run, it is combined, the is combined, cat is combined into one block. Okay. So that is the use of this shuffle stage. The results of the map stage must be collected by the key value pairs and shuffled to the same reducer process. So it will be given to the same reducer process. So it will not be changed or anything. It will be given to the same reducer process here. The last stage is reduce step. The final step is the actual reduction. In this stage, the data reduction is performed as per the programmer's design. The reduce step is also optional. The results are written into HDFS. So there will be a file created, output file created in your HDFS, and in that output file, the output will be written in that data file. Okay. So a map reduce job running, it will be creating files called part, P-A-R-T, part. So the name of the output file will be like this: part 00040, part 0001. So it will be starting with a part, P-A-R-T. So also it will be giving some one more file called as success. After execution, if everything goes well, so it will be creating one more file called as success. Only if the execution is correct and good enough to give the output, it will create that file. And also this output file will be also created, is called as part 00. In that the output will be written. Output is nothing but, you can see in the screen, C2, spot 2, run 3, the 1, cat, 1. That output will be written, because this is example given to find how many words has been occurred. So next is you can see there is one combiner. So the next slide, you can see there is a combiner. Already I told you this combiner works in between this map and shuffle. So what is the advantage of using this combiner is, combiner step enables some pre-reduction of the map output data. So whatever the map output data is given to the shuffle, so before that combiner step, what will it do is, for instance, you can see there run 1, spot 1, run 1 is the output from the map data. Okay, so it is given to the combiner block or combiner stage, we can call as. So the count of the run can be combined into run comma 2. So the run has been occurred twice in that block. So what the combiner will do is, it will combine run comma 2 as the output before it is given to the shuffle stage. So this optimization can help the minimize the amount of data transfer needed for the shuffle phase. So it is a big data. As you can see, this is a small text message, but in real time it will be of more than GBs of data. So when if you want to transfer from one stage to another stage, so it will be more network data will be required. So this stage optimize and minimize the amount of data transfer needed for the shuffle stage. Okay. Okay, the next slide you can see is process placement. A diagram which shows a process placement during MapReduce. So it is a simple 3-node MapReduce process. It means 3 processes will be processing parallelly. So once one process data is input to another once process output will be the input to the other process here. Okay, so how it will be done, as you can see in the diagram there. So there are 3 nodes. So 3 process are running, mapping processes are running. One process mapping output data is given to another process reducing process here. Okay, so once the mapping is complete, the same node begins the reduce process. The shuffle stage makes sure the necessary data are sent to each mapper, and there is no requirement that all mappers complete at the same time, or that mapper on a specific node be complete before a reducer is started. So what it means here, that all the mappers complete at the same time, or that mapper on a specific node be complete before a reduce is started. So before starting the other process, the node 1 process from the reducer reducer stage, we have to make sure that all the mappers should be complete before giving it to the reducer process there. So reducer can be set to start shuffling based on the threshold of percentage of a mapper that have finished. So for example, a threshold of percentage. So for example, some 75% of mappers has completed the processing of their data. So we can give that data to the reducing stage. So we can wait for the other process, but till then, if the 75% of your data has been processed by the mapping process, we can give it to the reducing process. So there will be some data failure or a system failure, which like 25% why it didn't complete. It might be because of some system failure or network problem, anything like that. But if you have completed your 75% of data, we can give it to the other process to complete. Okay. Okay. Now there are different properties of this MapReduce stage. One is fault tolerance. So as you know, parallel MapReduce operation is a strict control of data flow throughout the execution of the program. Like there is a strict control flow. That means from mapper to reduction, there is a control of your data. For example, a mapper processes do not exchange the data with the other mapper process. There is a mapper will be executing parallelly here. It does not exchange your data, and data can only go from mappers to reducers, not to the other directions here. Okay. So if there is a control of the data, and this enables MapReduce to operate in a fault tolerant fashion here. How? The design of the MapReduce makes it possible to easily recover from the failure of one or many map processes. For example, if a server failed, the map tasks that were running on that machine could easily be restarted on another working server because there is no dependency on any other map task here. As it is working independently, there is no dependency on any other map task. So all the other mappers are working independently, working parallel fashion here. There is no dependency, there is no input output going in between those mappers. So it is, so if any one system fails, so we can restart that process into another working server because of the replication of your data. You know that concept. In similar fashion, a failed reducer can be also restarted. If whatever happens in your reducer stage, if your system fails there, we can also restart in the other system. If the reduce task remains to be completed on a down node, the MapReduce application master will need to restart the reducer task here. If the mapper output is not available for the newly restarted reducer, then these map tasks will need to be restarted. So if a newly restarted reducer, it needs the data from the mapper. If it does not get the data from the mapper, even the mapper task should also be restarted into another new machine. So also it will take time, but it is fault tolerant. There will be it will never say I will not give you data, I will not give you output. It will give you output, but it will take time by transferring your data into some other newly restarted server there. So this process is totally transparent to the user and provides a fully fault tolerant system to run your applications. Okay. So next is speculative execution. So one of the challenges in many large amount of data or many large clusters is the inability to predict or manage unexpected system failure or bottlenecks we can call as. So this problem represents a difficult challenge for larger system. So if there is what you can say unexpected failure might be happen sometimes. What happens is might be some natural calamities happens, there is a power failure, there is a natural disaster happening. So we how to deal with this difficult challenge for large system. Now it is possible that congested network, slow disk, control failure disk, high processor load or some other similar problem might lead to slow your performance without anyone noticing it. There will be some example called as failing of disk, high processor load and so on. So how to overcome all this is nothing but the nature of the parallel MapReduce provides an interesting solution to this problem. Is nothing but by starting a copy of running map process without disturbing any other running mapper process thing. So what does for example your data node has been corrupted or it has been failed, what will do is when the map process has been started, it will start copying the data from that data node into another process without disturbing any other running mapper process. For example, suppose that most of the map tasks are coming to close. That means your task has been completed. The application master notices that some are still running. Almost 75% of the task has been complete from the different data nodes or different mapper processes. It has been complete, and your application master notices that some are still running and schedules redundant copies of the remaining jobs on less busy or free servers. So what it will do is it notices and schedules the redundant copies of the remaining jobs on less busy or free server. If the servers are free, it tries to run in that free servers. So that we call as speculative execution. Next is nothing but the Hadoop MapReduce hardware. The capability of Hadoop MapReduce in HDFS is to tolerate server or even whole rack failures can influence hardware designs. So as you see, I have told you earlier, the hardware which we use is nothing but a small commodity hardware. Might be your system also, which requires only 4 GB of RAM, 1 TB of hard disk, so on. We can use such kind of system also here. The use of commodity servers for Hadoop clusters has made low cost. It is low cost as per our need here, as per the data or as per the requirement from the big organizations, because it is low cost, high availability implementation of Hadoop, and it is possible for many data centers. So indeed, the Apache Hadoop philosophy seems to assume servers will always fail and take steps to keep failure from stopping application progress on a cluster. So we know that one day or the other, one system will be failing, one system will be keeping alive, or system always like stopping application progress. But how to overcome this? Always there will be some second solution for it. There will be always a part B plan how to overcome such kind of issues. The use of server nodes for both storage, HDFS, and the processing. The processing means your MapReduce processing is somewhat different from the traditional separation of these two tasks in the data center. So how it is built is Hadoop systems and the separate roles, discrete storage and processing nodes. So your what is that? So discrete storage and processing nodes. That means so your Hadoop system first will be built, and it will separate the roles of storage and processing here. Already I told you, HDFS for storage and processing, I mean MapReduce for processing. So it is separated, and it is like giving you what is that? Finding you the solution of fault tolerance of any failure of your hardware system, because both are differently processed, differently stored, different application is used to store and process. So both are not dependent, or both are not required to be in same system here. Another interesting feature of dynamic MapReduce execution is the capability to tolerate dissimilar servers. So dissimilar servers means what here? It's nothing but servers might be from different vendors here. It can be HP, it can be Dell. So there is no differentiation of from executing your map reduction technique or processing here. That is, old or new hardware can be used together. Large disparities in performance will limit the faster systems, but dynamic nature of MapReduce execution will still work effectively on such a system. Even if your system is old or new, it might limit your performance, but it will work effectively on any such systems here. So that is the use of this map reduction function, or you can say Hadoop. Hadoop gives you all this features. So this is all about map reduction. This class was all about map reduction framework, different stages. So in next class we will be studying about some script, how to write MapReduce programming or programs. Okay, thank you so much.